First time doing this. Just kidding. Hello and welcome. Hope you guys are all doing great. If not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. So, Friday night Q&A, here we are. Another one. If you guys are needing help with your aquariums, this is a great channel. Great discussion every Friday night. I do pop-up live streams. We did one Sunday. Now that I'm in this plumbing building mode, I may end up start doing more live streams just for a little while because it's harder for me to pin down edited content when I've just got thousands of parts of plumbing just to put together. And I mean, that's just a little bit of a lot of it. So saying that, and I'm hoping like this will only be for like a week or two. But either way, I always try to do my live streams when I can. And you can always ask me in the comments of my videos if you have a question about anything. I'm like an open book, so I'm here for you guys. Let me go ahead and get it in the live chat. Hello, hello, all you awesome people in the chat. Great to see all these names. Johnny Forgady says, anyone know causes of well-established crypts 1+ year randomly melting away with all other plants fine? So especially around this time of year, if you are doing a water change and it's colder, if the crypt's roots get cold, they absolutely hate it. They get cold feet real bad, and it's not really that they hate it, but what it actually does is it triggers them to hibernate. So every year, if you go out in waterways, crypts are all over the place, all over America, all over other countries. They're all over the world in waterways. And when it gets cold and the roots get cold, then they throw all their leaves down and then start to hunker into the substrate. And then they will grow back up later on. So maybe the cold got to them. It is usually the cause of that. And if not, let us know. Maybe able to keep diagnosing it for you. Outside in Aquatic says maybe it's hungry, like it got too big, that its nutrient supply couldn't sustain. I don't know. I think that's very rare, but maybe. I've never actually seen it, and I don't know. I've got some massive, massive amounts of huge Hudoroi, and I've grown some crazy crypts. And every time I seen it melt was usually with the cold water change. I think there was one time it melted back because it hit like a certain plateau too. Like it hit towards its growth zone, and this was my Hudoroi. It hit towards its growth zone, and it seemed like it melted back after that and then grew back stronger. So whatever you do when it does melt back like that, when your crypt aquarium plants, these are like your mid-ground plants. If you guys don't know what they are, really great plant for your aquarium and really easy to keep on many different types of water parameters. But anyways, those crypts, dang it, now I forgot because I started going on with that other tangent. But, oh yeah, those crypts, do not mess with them. Do not move them around out of the substrate when they do melt back. Let them be, let them settle, warm them back up. They'll come back. As long as you're seeing new growth, you'll be good. But do get the decaying material out of the aquarium if you can. The majority of it. Because it will start to fester and saturate your water with not as nice water. All right, and I think I scrolled all the way down to the bottom. No questions yet. But let's see this week. Yeah, like I mentioned, it's just been plumbing projects. Finally got the shrimp rack like completely done. Outflow system, inflow system on it. Got a little bit of inflow system on my endlers and guppies. And then now I got to make a bunch of parts and pieces for the valves and stuff. Doing the valve work and just gluing and putting those pieces together, because they're all custom, it just takes time. But it's going to be so sweet when it's done. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Still no less than 65 in room though. Yeah, 65 is cold enough to do it. 65 is cold enough. They really do prefer around the 70s. You start getting into the lower 60s, then that can be enough for it to pucker her up. Let's see. And then I'm actually about to move out my like really odd and end aquariums that I'm super excited about doing that to get some fish moved into a fry rack here. Can't wait to get to that part. I'm gonna try to do some of that this week coming up. I did end up going visiting some family last weekend, which was really cool. We took a boat ride on a river. Was looking for alligators, never saw any. Maybe I'll take you guys on that boat ride sometime with me. Who knows? Would you guys like a boat ride? Let me know. It's like boaters heaven down here in Florida. There's all kinds of places to boat. But if you guys don't ask me questions about freshwater aquarium keeping, I will ramble on about whatever pops up in my head because I gotta fill the void, you know? And I gotta bounce it off myself. And I'm hoping to see my boy Gary Lang this weekend, which I'm super excited for. He says he's got some upper tour rainbow fish eggs for me, which, oh my God, just hearing that just makes me wanna just, it's just such a relief. So I'm gonna have to baby and cater those while I have them. And Kurt Brunning, thank you so much, Kurt, for the $20 super chat. Says, Lucas, happy Friday. Nothing but love. You're the best. Well, nothing but love back to you. I really appreciate that support and definitely helpful for all that we're doing here and creating, because it's been a run, but it's also been a crawl, kind of a walk in all its own regards. So the main thing is just being able to forward keeping the projects going. That's kind of been my wall lately. So the support has been very helpful, as well as all your guys' orders on the site too, which I did update. LRBAquatics.com, got those shrimp back in stock, got those plants back in stock. There is some fish in stock as well, back in stock. But Kurt, hope you're having an awesome Friday, and bless you, man. I appreciate you for all the awesome support for a long time. Aquatic Habitats Co. says, how often do you have to top up outdoor tank gardens? So it's about due right now. It really depends on the humidity level of your area. So of course, the drier the air, the cooler the air, more wind, it's gonna suck out more water, which causes more evaporation. Now, if it's been more rainy and more humid, then it's gonna be a lot less. And you just gotta keep an eye on it. So look at your aquariums. That's what you have them for. I mean, my aquariums every day, it's a ritual of going around all of them. And you know, I love going around feeding my tanks, seeing everything in it. Honestly, I wish I could just capture much more videos of like what all goes on in here a lot, and not be such in a hurry to get like this project done and that kind of stuff. And soon, I can't wait to be in that space, because there's a lot. Just like today when I was looking at my outside aquariums, which if you guys didn't see the video, I released a video on the update of my outside aquariums, which they're no filter, they're just aquariums. I sat out there with some substrate in them. And some had aquarium plants in them, some didn't have them, but they ended up getting sticks, leaves, and debris, and all became their own ecosystems in their own nature. And it's really cool how they really do turn out. And a lot of that is what taught me better way of keeping fish within this hobby, opposed to what a lot is taught. So if you haven't seen what I do outdoors, I definitely highly recommend checking out those videos. I love it too, but man, just the sun was coming in, that morning sun, and it was hitting all those plants. Oh my God. It just looks so good with that crystal clear water and all that just layer and dimension of all the stick debris and leaves and everything else that is falling into it. Love it. Absolutely love it. And Thomas G, my boy, thank you so much for the awesome support as always. You've been the man for a long time. Throwing down the 1876. I love it. Peace, bro. Thank you so much for the support. And man, you're awesome. Mike Vang, sup Lucas, any cold water fish besides rice fish and goldfish you think are cool? So I like the golden white clouds, and then the regular white clouds are really cool that are colder fish. What shiners are those? I've been getting into shiners more now that it's hard to remember. What are the red day shiners? Those are really cool. I think they're cooler. But there's another one, the rainbow shiner. Yeah, that's a really neat one as well. There's actually a guy on here called Cold Water Aquariums or Cold Water Aquatics. What was his previous name? Oh my God. Can't believe I don't remember it. He's up in the Midwest, and I met him. Real cool guy. God, I should remember it. I don't know, but there is a cold water aquarium channel that's out there, which is kind of neat. Does like more of the native species here in the U.S. Chi-Town Pat says, what are you drinking tonight? I am drinking water. I am on that real good Florida spring water. It's hard to drink anything else. Hard to drink anything else. Babe in the Moon says, do you happen to know if your lime green antlers have ever been crossed with guppies, or are they straight antlers? They are straight antlers. They are legit. Like, I've been working this line for years. So I've had the lineage for, I don't know, I'd say probably at least 6 years plus. And they got a lot of green in them. Ham Choices, can you talk about more about shrimp? Oh God, making me hungry. Yeah, I can talk about shrimp. So I recently did a fish room tour where I showed all my shrimp. I know a lot of people want me to like make a specific shrimp video, which I did do like a killifish and shrimp video. It's really hard for me not to tag team videos together when so much goes on when I do actually film through the week and then try to break it up for you. But I don't know. What do you want to know about shrimp? I could talk about shrimp, but what about them? Just like the colors. If you haven't seen my, recently I did the international contest video that was up in Charlotte at the Aquatic Expo. That was a really good video. If you like shrimp, highly recommend that. Yes, Lady LRB, thank you. It was Maple Street. Yes, Maple Street. Real cool dude. And he's got some cool setups. He actually does, I like how he set up his live too. He's got like multi-cameras and stuff going on. One day I hope to be that fancy to where I got that. He also got those cameras that follow you and stuff too while you're live. One day. I hope to get all that put together, but I can't afford everything. Like, I got holes in my freaking shoes trying to get this freaking plumbing project done. Aquatic because I think, and the big reason why I push so hard for this project, just to let you guys know, is for the fish. Like, I'm just so ready to just give them those rejuvenating water changes. Granted, they're fine without them, but I know the tanks could be doing so much better with the water changes. Now, smaller water changes at that, and probably not that frequently, but at least they can get the freshy fresh when they need the freshy fresh, which means the water change. Besides that, I don't need a filter for nothing. Aquatic Habitats, thank you so much for the support as well. Says update on the GMs. Always love hearing about their progress. So as far as braid them, I have kind of put it on the back burner as far as moving them around. I did have them in a breeding tank, and there's I think it's a rainbow tiger endler male in there. So I need to get him out before I will probably get any babies out of that. But saying that, I still got 3 other gens and colonies of them, or groups of them, of 3 or more, that I've held back. So they're definitely supported back in case something ever happens. And I need to get back to breeding them. Actually, what I'm about to work on, and when I move all my odd tanks that I got on these racks where the rainbow fish go, then it's really going to be organized for them. So I'm super excited about. Right now, I'm just trying to get some plants and stuff in the fry rack, and just little things here and there, and moving QT around and seasoning them up before I throw a bunch of fish in them. And granted, I could, but I don't know. My babies. It's a little different when you throw in just a couple fish at a time too, opposed to like a bunch of fish at once. That's one thing that actually becomes a big problem when you're getting fish from the store or anywhere else. Say you just get like 2 or 3 fish, odds of them doing good and the percentage of them doing good is going to be a lot better than the odds of if you went and bought 20 or 30 or 50 or 100. You're actually going to have more havoc on the bio load of that tank if it's not ready or hasn't been seasoned biologically to be able to take up that much of the fish waste and stuff. So that plays a big role in adding fish into new aquariums that haven't been seasoned. And when I mean seasoned, they don't have all the nature in them and stuff. The beneficial bacterias, the mome, detritus, all that. But yeah, the Glossolepis maculosus are doing good, and they're living in their habitats. And thank you so much, Aquatic Coves, or Aquatic Habitats Cove, for the super chat. All right. All shrimp videos should be shorts. Yeah, I need to get back to making more shorts too. Like, I know I just did a short on my, what was, oh dang it, why can't I think of them? Julia Chromis, Marlerai, which, oh my god, those fish, that tank right now is looking so cool. That whole row of that tank is looking cool. Maybe I should do a short of that. It's just been hard for me to sit down, like, because even to do a short, it's going to take up more than a half hour. It's probably about a half hour of my time to get that short edited and uploaded and shot and everything else, at least a half hour. And sometimes that's not always doable in my schedule. But I do need to do a short of like that whole row because the plants in it is looking crazy. Iman Hutton says, if you could be any fish in your collection, which would you want to be, or which tank would you want to live in? So I would definitely probably be, if I had to be, would be like one of the lime green endlers or the CPDs that live in that 470-gallon pond down here. I think that would be cool to be that little fish in that little, through that whole crazy pond. It'd be a bit wild, but it'd be fun. It'd definitely be fun. Let's see. Bravehearts 1980 LRB, not a fish question, but are you a football fan? So I love football. I love playing football, and I played, and I talked about this in last week's Friday night, actually, I believe. I played football. Like, I love defense. I played offense. I played it all. Return teams and all that, but I do not follow football anymore. Unfortunately, football, I believe, and same with basketball, there's a lot of proof of that stuff being scripted, as well as like what the big corporations do it now, to where I feel like I'm living in a big old world of WWE entertainment television, just on different industries. Unfortunately, that, and it's so hard to keep up with the names anymore. But I would still watch a football game, like if it was on TV and I didn't have nothing else to do, or like say it was Thanksgiving time and it's what's usually on TV. But I don't. I've got too many bigger things to do in real life right now. Like literally, I sink a lot of my time in this or family. And once in a while, I'll go outside and smell the roses and exercising. Chi-Town Pass says, I want to move immerse Luigia from outside to inside. It's over 3 foot out of the pond. Can it be brought inside without dying? Would it survive a Chicago winter with no defroster? So definitely would not survive your Chicago winter. You can bring it in. Just be careful when you bring it in that when you pull it out, excuse me, that the cold doesn't get to it, and that cold or dry air can just really cellularly destroy it as you're pulling it out. So it's almost best if you pull it out as it's within like a water container, and then maybe take that water container inside, then empty out the water and wash it, and then put it in your tank. But try to keep it at the same temperature. As long as there's not huge temperature swings on those plants, usually doesn't affect them. And another thing people don't think about with plants is when you're holding them as well, the heat from just your fingertips can be enough to disintegrate a plant, because it takes it from like that 70-degree temperature up to 96 plus. That's why I'm real careful whenever I'm shipping your guys' plants and touching them. Like, I'm hardly touching them. There's really actually a bit of the surface tension of the water between my fingers usually and the plant as I'm moving it. Because, I mean, I want you guys to have success with the stuff that you guys get from me. So I make sure that they don't get damaged like that. And it really, a lot of people aren't mindful about that. Sometimes it's the little things that can just do so much damage that we're just not conscious enough or aware of. Henry Figueroa says, how long does it take you to feed all the aquariums? I can do it in I could say probably under 15 minutes in the barn, and then in the house, less than 5 minutes. So it doesn't take me long to feed them. Cat Power, have you done any plant collecting in Florida? We have lots of cool aquatic and emergent plants. Eleutheris, repens, bacopas, bladderworts, and so many more plants. So I actually do have some from my soil and my dirt that has gotten into my aquariums, or well, that I use in my aquariums, because all my aquariums pretty much come from my yard. And there's been some wet areas where I grabbed from, and I've got some really neat plants out of them. Definitely got that bladderwort and some of them that I need to get rid of. But I do plan on doing more adventuring and more videos of that. And I can imagine like this summer coming up and spring coming up, that I will have more time for all that kind of stuff, because the fish room will pretty much be built, which will be a huge stress off me to allow for that kind of stuff. But yeah, Florida's got a lot of cool stuff. As far as like our hobby and aquatic fanatics and nature fanatics, Florida is a great place for that. Joe MTL says, what is your method to get female cherry shrimp to molt so that they could breed? So with the cherry shrimp being a Neocaridina, they need a lot of mineralization within hardness to be able to molt out of their shell. So if it's too acidic for them, this is why they don't do as well in acidic conditions compared to Caridina shrimp. That acidity will break down their shell, and then it causes a bad molt, and it's just not as good for them. And the opposite for Caridina. So if they have too hard of water, they can't molt out of their shell because their shell gets too hard and they can't get out of it. So as long as you got some mineralization in there, some GH, KH in there, I usually go off of TDS. They need to be above 200 long term if you want a lot out of them. And usually just give them time. They could be molting and them eating it too at night. So you may not even realize that they have molted. Alright. Scroll. Lady LRB says I'm not in live chat. I am in live chat. Gotta be. Outside and Aquatics, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. It says you can cover this Aquarius feet for just $5 a month. It's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal. But Outside and Aquatics, thank you so much for the support in the super chat. And are you the Aquarius? Are you the one for $5 a month? I mean, if I gotta be, I guess. I mean, it helps pay the bills. Maybe I'll do that for members. Which actually, come to find out, I think YouTube's got a new thing that I can do members live only. So for maybe we can do a Saturday live and test that out for our members here. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see how things go. Scroll. And sorry if I'm missing anybody's questions. Trying my best to speed read this the best I can. Johnny Best says, Rasbora, aka micro predators, do you think their tiny size are able to hunt scuds? Kind of hard for them to eat the adults. They could eat the small ones, but not the adults. They could help keep the numbers down. Let's see. Night Owl Aquatic says, excuse me, LRB, any tips on breeding pencil fish? Just got some Nanostomus red snappa. So I haven't had a whole lot of like experience with breeding the pencil fish personally, so I couldn't give you like the best advice. I know a lot of people have done it with just the mesh method where they put mesh on the bottom of the aquarium. So I can imagine if you did it like my CPD method with the mesh baskets that's floating in an aquarium, you could do it that way as well. I know that's how a lot of farms actually will breed their fish too, where they just make these custom mesh baskets out of those quilt grids. And then they stick them in there and then let them do their thing. And they either make the tank real dark, real acidic, a lot of botanicals. You know, try to mimic their environment. Anytime you can mimic their environment and or get the plants and same type of plants from their environment, that is always a trigger as well as live food. Oh, Asaya Llewellyn says posted a video on her channel of the rice fish you bought from me, all healthy and happy in a planted tub pond. Very good to hear. If you want to link it on the comments after this video, feel free. Then I can check it out. That way it'll be easy for me to get to. Because as soon as I get off here, I've got a ton of stuff I gotta do. You know, if it ain't like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. You know how it is if you got 100 things going on. Jim W12 says, hey LRB, what live food do you recommend for Corys and white clouds? Thanks for plumbing cell. I am loving the new plants. Well, thank you for the order and the support. Glad you're loving the new plants. And plumbing cell, I believe, is still going on. Still doing that plumbing. I ain't even come close to even getting close to the pumps and stuff yet. But as far as live food for cory cats, I would say scuds are a really great one for those, especially if you got rock piles and stuff, because the adults are more meatier and harder for them to eat, but as they breed out and have babies and whatnot and live in the cracks and crevices, they can sift and hunt, and just gives them something to interact with all day. And same with the white clouds. Because if you do like Daphnia, you would have to constantly be feeding that tank Daphnia. And they would eat it constantly as well. The scuds is more self-maintainable. Kerr Gunner says, I'm setting up Hillstream tank and I have very hard and high TDS water. Will that cause an issue for most Hillstream species? 8.2, 300, 400 ppm TDS. No, they don't mind. They don't mind at all. I used to keep those in those same parameters. No problem. And they would breed. So you're good. You're good. Brandy. Thank you, Brandy Rutledge, for the $10 super chat. The awesome support. It says, why pH 7-ish out of faucet but becomes acidic in tank? Fluval stratum substrate, how increase the pH? So fluval stratum does have like acidic, like humic factors that can cause the pH to drop as well. And then also, whenever you're getting your water from your tap, you're getting more hydrogen molecules from the oxygenation that comes from all the adding of all the new water. This is why you get pH rises and people get pH spikes when they do water changes and stuff, is because that pH will read that per hydrogen and it will give you a reading for that. So once that outgasses and then you go to test it later, it's going to read lower because those hydrogen molecules are out of that range. And this is why I do not test pH, because you can get false readings from it depending on your situation. Your airline, same reason. If you run an airline in your aquarium, you're going to read a higher pH because of that airline being in there. If you had no airline in there, it would give you a softer reading because you're not getting all those hydrogen molecules in there. And this is why I always say TDS. And which TDS meters, which is your total dissolved solids, is the best to measure that hardness. It's still more of a combination of your GH and KH, which is your general hardness and your kinetic hardness. So saying that, I would measure more your, so what you're saying too, especially if your pH is 7 coming out of the tap and then becomes more acidic. So if it's even coming out of the tap at 7, that's already telling me it's acidic. If it's coming out at like 8.6 or something, that's telling me you've got hard water. Like it may be spiked at 8.6, may drop down to 7.6 or something like that, but either way, you're still more towards that alkaline scale. Now, if it's coming out at that low of a pH, you're going to have more of an acidic scale, which means it's going to eat up the mineralization in your aquariums quicker, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. All depends on what you're keeping and what you're trying to do. And if you're trying to increase the pH from that fluval stratum, you can either try some crushed coral, which is more of a slow release. So as the acidity breaks that crushed coral down, it actually feeds those types of minerals into the system, so the plants can either uptake them and or the fish and shrimp. Here in Florida, we've got that lime rock. So as it breaks down with acidity, because my water is actually kind of acidic, but it's full of minerals. So it's kind of like both worlds. It's got that acidity, but full of minerals. So it can break it down, but So a lot of it like is just thinking within the terms of acidity and alkalinity and how it breaks down material and mineralization. And then there's a GH booster I get from Nilo CG, which I have found to become like really steady on getting your hardness to where you want it exactly instead of like waiting for a rock to break down. Which, even though with my aquariums, with my guppies, my endlers, and a lot of those really do love hard water, but with just that rock in there and then being able to graze on it and stuff like that, they're actually, same with the shrimp, they're actually ingesting and able to go to a source to get mineralization. Even though the water may be more acidic, they still have that cachet of minerals to go to, which helps them in the long run. So I hope this helps you out, Brandy, and thank you so much for the support in the super chat, and hope you're doing well. And Aquashella coming soon too. I can't wait to go to Aquashella. That should be a good time. I haven't been to Aquashella in a long time. It's gonna be like right near the beach too. It's be hard to. I'm definitely gonna have to get some beach time in. TM Cloth says, do you have any tips for remineralizing RODI water? So the same thing, that GH booster I get from Nilo CG. And then if you type in LRB plant food or LRB plant fertilizer, should be some videos on how I create my own solutions of my macronutrients and my micronutrients. But your macronutrients are going to have like your iron and what is it, copper and some other stuff. And then your macros are your potassiums. I forget. Then your micros are your copper, CSM plus B. Let's see. Chi-Town Pass has any plans to breed Bristol nose? Nah, there's so many people who breed Bristol nose, and I'll leave it up to them. There's a lot of fish I need to breed and still don't have space for. So I don't know. Bristol nose is not on the agenda. Like I used to at the old house, I actually stuck Bristol nose in like every tank, and well, actually not every tank, but a lot of them. Charlie Grimes gave me a bunch of them because his tank was just running crazy. Like he would feed 2 cans of green beans into this tank and they would just devour it. That's how many bristlenose a day. That's how many bristlenose plecos was in there. And he just scooped me up a whole scoop full of them, and I put them all over my fish room at the old house, and they ended up breeding in the rock piles and stuff and would maintain in there. But I did find it hard to breed out certain fish in their tank when I'm doing the natural method, because they would get a flavor for the eggs, and or they would be really hard to get out of the aquariums if I got rock piles. So if I got to dedicate Placo tanks, I would definitely have to have them dedicated. And unfortunately, I don't have enough racks, believe it or not, to dedicate even like my rice fish or killifish yet, or tetras and or barbs. Just not enough tanks in the world yet. Let's see. I can't complain. I'm happy with what I got for sure. Like I'm over the moon with what I got going on here. And I see a lot of it coming to fruition, which makes it more exciting. Passing Wind says, have you ever raised triobes? If not, it's something fun for the kids. Excuse me. So I did try it, and I've got some eggs, but I didn't have any luck. Now, I didn't really read the directions and do it like the directions. I just kind of chucked some eggs into a tank and was hoping for the best. But I should probably look up the directions online, because, you know, like the man and myself, I threw the directions away and did not read them. So maybe I should try it that way. But I definitely want to get some triumphs going. I think they look really cool. Blase Thompson says, "Do you ever get blue-green algae from low nitrates?" I don't know about from low nitrates, but I have recently gotten blue-green algae in my quarantine tank. So I think it could have come off some plants because blue-green algae is also cyanobacteria, which is a bacteria and not really an algae. And you can take care of it with general cure. Brandy Relish says, "I have TDS meters, should use it. I have 1 inch or one death tank, all fish, guppies die in it, but it's down to restart. H2O test read normal." So it could be something tainted in it somehow. Something perfumes, lotions sometimes can be a problem, and or like people use Glade spray and all that kind of stuff for breezes. Like as far as fish keeping, we do like I do none of that. Like no perfumes, no lotions, no sprays, no fragrances, no chemicals. There's so many chemicals around people these days. It's insane. And not the like good natural type of chemicals. And then death tanks, it's really hard to diagnose a death tank without knowing its full history. Because there could be a lot of factors. But I'll be looking out for if you want to continue. Legion Aquatic says, "Why does the video quality look like you are filming on a potato?" Because we're all floating on a potato in space right now. What is it, like 83 million miles an hour going in a spiral while the moon and sun follows us? I don't know. Maybe we've gone back in time. It comes in and out. I don't know. Country living. Past and Win says, "You have one blue Madeca for sale. That's it? Are you Wow. No way. Only one? I thought I put 20 up there. I don't have my internet on my computer to check, so I can't check right now. But I'll check it after a live stream. I thought I had 20 on there. I didn't think they all sold, but... See, now that's better video quality. And see, I didn't do anything. And if I move around, sometimes it just... I don't know. It doesn't like me. Even though in Indianapolis, we had gig internet speed, dude, we'd still get potatoed. We would still get potatoed. Let's see. Brandy Rutledge, death tank is in the middle of 3 Rack Road. 20 tanks, wondering if disease hiding. And or internal parasite that's getting around, or it's really hard to tell. If it's a diseasement or if it's a like viral thing or even predatory. Really, really hard to tell. But those would be kind of the options I would look towards. And to really figure that out is diagnosing the dead body of the fish. So look for exit wounds. If you see exit wounds out of your fish, then potentially something has crawled and came out of it, and that is what's causing the problems. And usually if you catch it like that day it happens, like you can either see like expressions on their face or maybe their tails are showing something. Really had to diagnose the fish at that point to really diagnose what could be causing it as well. Because it doesn't really sound like it would be the water parameters. 9 out of 10 times, like the water parameters isn't killing your fish. unless they're flushing the system around you. So, like I mentioned last Friday as well, this is the time of the year where they do flush system. But if you got that many tanks and you're only seeing a problem in that one, then I don't know. It kind of takes that out of the equation. But another reminder to you guys, like this is the season where they flush the city lines for water treatment and they put in more chemicals. So just watch your water and watch your fish. And if you do see like your fish gasping or something, get some more dechlorinator in there. Legion Aquatic says, I just got a betta from someone who had it in a really tiny tank and the water had a ton of ammonia. I gave it clean water and salt. Anything else you recommend? So anything to get its biofilm back up and running, as long as it doesn't like have burns. I'm sure its gills might have some burns and stuff, but as long as you got a good biofilm and keep that biofilm like soft on them, then it helps them heal so much better. And over time, he'll just heal like anything. Just like whenever we get cut, it takes sometimes weeks for us to heal. Sometimes we heal overnight. Just as their skin. Same as ours. Sorta. Let's see. Angel M says, I'm having an issue with brown algae diatoms. It keeps multiplying on my pants. On your pants? Oh my god, that's a problem. I have done water changes, but hasn't removed it. Will ram's horn snails eat it? So ram's horns absolutely love diatoms, and it's very common for new tanks to get diatoms. It's kind of one of its cycles that they can go through to help get into their balance. Easy to scrape off. You can actually rub it off with your fingers as well. Autosinkless love it too. But ram's horn snails will go bananas for it. My autofocus is in spasm. That's crazy. Well, yeah, it's not doing anything on my end. It totally looks normal on my end. I was watching the one with Wesley, and I saw where it like melted melted the whole screen. That was kind of crazy. Y'all could hear me, but the screen was all melted. I don't know. A lot of my stuff's kind of bugged though too. Like my stuff is kind of hardcore bugged, I think. And I'm very mindful about like what rabbit holes I go down, but like my internet will be working on my phone when my internet or on my computer and being hotspotted when it's not even linked up and hotspotted and all kinds of weird stuff like that. I could almost make a channel of all the weird technology stuff that comes out of my end here. And always has, whether I've had good internet in the country and or city. Technology's always been playing with me, but you know, I love the system and to mess with it too, so. 'Tis the entertainment of life, I guess. I don't know. Wild world that we live in right now, though. But humanity will prevail. Let's see. I live on a well now. I'm blessed not to have fluoride in my aquariums. I hear ya. Ain't even washing that stuff. Johnny Best says, do you keep your shrimps and scuds together, or is that a fail? It's not a fail. You can keep them together. It's just hard if you plan on selling your shrimp, dividing your shrimp and your scuds from each other, and trying not to give other people scuds could become a problem. It could be hard to do, but symbiotically, they can definitely coexist. And I have done it. Actually created a compost tank with them one time. It's a cringe video from like years and years ago when I first got on here. It's like, I can't even remember, like a show and tell. It was my show and tell second episode. Is where people could like send in their videos of their tanks, and then I would show them off on the channel. And on the first one, I got some really good ones, but then I didn't get anybody send anything on the second one, which I ended up just doing a video on my compost tank. So it was a scud and fire red tank that I threw like orange pills in, banana pills in. Oh my god, that is the nastiest, ugliest looking spider. Hold on 1 second. This boy is going down. Oh, I see his house. And he's too close to my like main area. What the? Ugh. Yeah, I don't do those things around my space like that. Florida living, good old Florida living. Dude, I snaked about coming in here earlier this week. I had the doors open. He was just peeping his head right at the door. It'd have been like 3-4 foot long. I don't know what kind he was, but I shoot him off. Little rascals. Got a couple frogs out of here too. I swear there's a couple lizards making babies in here too. Because the top's not like quite sealed right. And the nature be getting in here sometimes. Alright, let's see. YFI, 1 month platinum member. Get him. Thank you. I need that hype. But platinum member. YFI, you're the man. Thank you. Much appreciated on that awesome support. And yeah, those kind of spiders. I don't know if you guys saw the video I had of that centipede get caught by that spider that was on a short. That thing was like right by my legs. So some of the spiders I like to keep around because they'll be snagging them guys up. It really doesn't seem that wild in here, but it's like every once in a while something will just like crawl around in here. I think it's because I leave my doors open. I really need to get like screen doors for the fish barn at some point. One day. Lots of things to do. Let's see. I haven't seen your face clearly at all this video. Dang. Well, that sucks. Good thing it's more kind of like a podcast. I mean, I can still only do so much. Like, it's either this or nothing. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do for you guys. I know doing these live streams like really hurt my channel. My channel would probably go a lot farther without these live streams. But honestly, to be here to help you guys is more important to me than like chasing those views down. I know it may not look the best, and then one day we may get it to look good, but you know, doing what I can right now with what I got. And I'm not made out of money either. Like, I literally, when I say I got holes in my shoes, I literally got holes in my shoes trying to pay for things. Granted, I could buy some shoes, but then I wouldn't get like these valves to get this fish room finally where it needs to be. And then when this is all settled, then I feel like I can breathe and those kind of things, and I won't have to worry about money so much. But hey, at least I don't have a mortgage, so that's really helpful. Is there a place to buy scuds outside in aquatics? I'm sure if you type in scuds for sale, you could probably definitely find some for sale. As far as reliable sources, I couldn't tell you who sells them better than who because I haven't been in the market for them. I usually would get them off like a fellow hobbyist that had maybe gotten them. Actually, I think we get them at our club meetings. Chris Trapp says, Lucas, do you have a Skittles tank going these days? So I do have one, but it was mostly, well, actually I got two. But it was mostly one was blue and red shrimp together, and one was yellow and red. But then they get fish in their tanks and don't really get a whole lot out of them. But I do have plans in 240s for Caridina Scriddle mixes and Neo Caridina Scriddle mixes. Chris Trabb, thank you so much for the $10 super chat and the new shoe fund. And yeah, I think I may have to break down and get some new shoes here sooner than later because the sides are coming down. But it does go to show where like your big toes poke out first, and kind of like shoes are kind of built wrong. Because why is my big toe breaking through on both of them before anything else? I guess it is the leading point of my foot, but I appreciate that support, Chris. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'll have to break down and do that sooner than later. It would be good to have flytrap plants in your barn. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. They're usually attracted to the water, and then just the fish take care of them. There's not, actually, we don't have, as far as flies, I could get a bunch of bugs come in here with the doors open, but yet they always end up in being fish food, I think. I don't get like flies just flying around, which thank God. Not like that termite freaking explosion I had not long ago. That was what, like maybe half a year ago. That was crazy. But what I would like to do is get one of those freaking fly traps or bug zappers that collects the bugs, and then you just got a bunch of bug food. Angel M says, should heat packs be added during fall and winter when shipping Neocaridina? Is insulation enough when shipping USPS? So this depends on where they're going and where they're going out from. If it was cold in my area and I felt like they needed a heat pack from my area, then yes, I would put the heat pack in. So like in Indianapolis or Indiana in the Midwest, I would be using them more often than if I was here in Florida, because Florida stays warmer here. So on their first direct connect to wherever they're going, I know they're staying warm. And as long as the people that are getting them don't allow them to sit in the mail and freeze and stuff, then they should be all right. And if it's going like cold to cold, say if you're going like from cold up in the Midwest to like say to Florida, maybe only use a timed one that would only last for like maybe 40 hours. Say if you're going from cold to cold, say like Indiana to Connecticut, maybe something like 96 hour. And the reason why I say 96 hour, you could do 72s probably all right, and 96 hours, we actually use 110 hour, and the main reason for that is because you just don't really know when they're actually, if the post office messes up and they take longer, then you're actually covering yourself a little better. And then on top of that, so it all really depends on what's in there too and what you're shipping, as far as like each heat pack's got a certain amount of punch of heat to put in there. So you got to kind of, you can fine tune it if you like for those. But you could always, like what I first did to really make myself feel comfortable about shipping fish in the wintertime, especially in Indiana where we had -40 wind chills and stuff like that, like crazy cold, is I would stick a heat pack out in a box and stick it outside at night, and I would have a temperature gauge in there that would read its highs and lows and stuff. And that can actually give you an idea of how things really operate. But USPS keeps their stuff air conditioned for the most part. Let's see. Scroll. Kerr Gunner says, do you have any knowledge about dwarf horseface loaches? I saw some pop up for sale and I had never heard of them. So I have heard of them. They're pretty cool. Wild. I think they get like fairly good size. It's like 4 or 5 inches, I think, maybe even bigger. Besides that, I don't know much more about them. There's not a whole lot of loach breeding information out there. And or I haven't had a lot of success myself in breeding loaches and or like projects for them. Spoil your feet and you'll have a happy life. Indeed. I believe in that for sure. The shoes I wear right now are actually kind of light for what I normally wear. I used to wear heavier shoes that I like sat up on top more, but these are like more thinner, but my feet tend to like better. I always try to balance like where I'm putting the pressure of where I'm standing and stuff. Because working construction, oh my God, it beat up my body. Outside in Aquatics, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Most valuable live in the game. Thanks, man. New shoes. Well, thank you, Outside in Aquatics. I appreciate that. And yeah, I try to do this live for y'all because, man, I really want to be here without y'all. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll hit the 100K sub one day, but I guess, like, really, I only gain, believe it or not, I only gain like maybe 250 subs anymore. Like, my channel has been dying. I can't believe it. I think I think a lot of reason why is it's more like showing you guys what I got going on instead of like hitting detailed videos about like, oh, here's my opinion on this, or here's these things you may not like. I don't know. I think it's the type of videos I do, definitely. But either way, we'll be getting those videos out at some point. I gotta get this fish room done first. It's the most important. Fish gotta come first. Then the channel will. Come right all about it. Let's see. ICUN lists their conservation status as threatened the horseface loach or something. Or what? I think you did. And they're also talking about anteaters, so hard telling. Johnny Best says, I have a 10-gallon planted with Phoenix rasboras and your yellow shrimp in it. I was thinking, that sounds pretty cool. I was thinking of putting cherries and blue neos in my 20 long. If they interbreed, what would it be? So you'll get some wilds out of them where you'll get like these black, clear, kind of striped shrimp. You'll get potential purple shrimp out of them. You could end up with a few different types of really shrimp. And who knows what else. But those are generally what will come out of interbreeding those two colors. But I bet that Phoenix Rasbora yellow shrimp tank looks really cool. It's a cool combo. Jacob Aronder says, do you use root tabs? How often do you think it is best to add them without disturbing the roots? I have 6 inches of pea gravel, sand, crushed coral, and Eco Complete mixed every 1 to 2 months right now. So, no, I don't ever use root tabs. I don't ever do any of that stuff. And as far as like different substrates, when you've got so many different textures and medias of substrates, it can confuse the roots to plants. Something to think about. Which I learned this in this 240 gallon that I had made substrate lasagna in. And when I'd pull the plants out, I noticed some of them would get confused as certain layers would change up on them and they would feel like it's abnormal or something. But no, I don't use any root tabs. I currently haven't even ferted any of my aquariums for a long time, almost a year. Then as far as like Amazon swords, like plants like that, they would probably do better with some root tabs. Now crypts, stem plants, all those, they don't really need them. If you really wanted to, like, just add in some fertilization, maybe some, like, clay-based, a little bit of clay-based substrate to add some slow release mineralization. Kurt Gunner says the dwarf horseface loaf species I saw pop up is in Ancanthroposoides robertsi, which supposedly gets 2 to 3 max. That's what made me most interested about them. Well, that sounds cool. That's pretty small. Almost like the size of a pygmy chain loach, but smaller. Yeah, some people add root tabs. Like when I first started keeping aquariums, I would add root tabs. I'd tell you what, they never hurt anything. I used to use these iron spikes, which used to work wonders, work really well for my sword plants. So I guess it really depends on your setup and your aquarium and how much nutrients you're getting from your water source compared to the uptake of your plants and everything else. I see some breeders with no substrate, pros and cons. So with no substrate, I'm not a big fan. I would say the bigger reason why, in the same time as these people who do the no substrate, is they don't paint the bottom of the tank. Now, if they were to paint the bottom of the tank, not as big as a problem, but those fish can see the reflection from the bottom of the tank, and it's not natural. Plus, light could come up from the bottom of the tank, which can cause a lot of problems too. I think a lot of reasons why they do it is they feel like it's easy to clean up, like the poop and the waste and stuff like that. But I've got some substrate-less aquariums in my quarantine area in the house, actually. And I've kept them in many different other situations as well, with no filter, no water changes, and they actually create their own dirt in them over time. And I just prefer substrate myself because it gives the microbiology somewhere to really live, which I think is important, especially if you're doing water changes and stuff. Makes it easier for the substrate to refeed that water that you took out of that aquarium, which makes it biologically sound. Outside in, Aquatic says, how many beginner fish keepers are in the chat? I don't know. That's a good question. Wow, we're over the hour mark. I didn't even realize it. A red and blue Neocaridina will make what colors? They can make purple, but often it'll be more reds and blues, sometimes realies, and sometimes wild shrimp. Angel M says, do you keep your blue Neocaridina in tap water? If I buy them, could they coexist with my blue Neo colony? I keep them in dechlorinated tap water, about 160 TDS. So the TDS here is 170. And yeah, they could live in that. My Neocaridinas often joke you can hit them with a hammer and they'll still survive. I've had these lines for over a decade, and they've been through it all. They have been through it all. Tried, tested, and approved. And I appreciate you guys all joining me for this live stream. We're well over the hour mark. I've got to get some things bagged up and get back to work. But I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Thank you all so much for the support. And if you want some healthy, homegrown aquarium plants, fish, and or shrimp, things that won't die on you, haven't been wholesaled, they aren't full of diseases, they're all clean, happy, healthy, they'll do well in aquariums, Hit it up, lrbaquatics.com. Until next time, everybody, peace. Have a great one. Da 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 da.